Hey man, this is CT. I'm just here to check in with y'all, let y'all know what's going on before we hop right into this video. Um, so we was on the 5-5 table. This table is a little different than the typical 5-5s that we do play at. This table was filled with tournament players. Don't get me wrong, some of them do play cash. I played a couple games with maybe one or two of them, but for the most part, out of the 9 people at the table, I was the main cash player at the table, live player at the table. Most of those guys, tournament players, so the play is a little different, but didn't start off well for me, and I was able to gain it back a little bit. Didn't get a really big hit on this day, but we didn't take a loss either, so that's always a plus. We're gonna get into it. This is CT, man. Get at me, hit that subscribe button, and we're gonna get into these hands. Once again, this is a 5-5 game. First hand, we're gonna look down at ace-4 suited, and we're gonna go ahead and bump it up to $25. The hijack calls, and the button decides that $25 is not quite enough for him. He bumps it up to $85. Now, sitting in this position, I am going to be out of position, so I could see a 4-bet possibly going here. But like I stated at the beginning, these are a lot of tournament players. Not sure what he's 3-betting me with. Haven't really played with many of these guys, so I do just elect to go ahead and make the call, and the hijack decides that that's too much for him. He folds. We go to a flop. 7, 8, 9 rainbow. We are completely missed this board. The only thing that we do have any hopes of is a backdoor flush and possibly hitting an ace. So we elect to go ahead and check it over to the button, and the button continues to bet with an amount of $200 into a pot of 205. Seems kind of strong to me, effectively putting me all in. I started this hand off with about $290, 85 pre-flop. So with no hopes of just a backdoor flush draw and possibly hitting an ace that's no good, I do decide to just let this hand go and see if we can pick a better spot. So the next hand that we're looking at here, there's a straddle under the gun for $10, and the under the gun +1 decides $10 is not enough, and he bumps it up to 35. Typically, someone bumping it up 35 in that early of a position typically symbolizes a pretty strong hand. So it folds around to me in the cutoff position. I look down at pocket bullets, pocket aces, pulled the pistols out. So we decide we only got 175 behind. Don't want to see too many people in this flop multi-way. Possibly only the straddler and the initial raiser. If not, just the raiser alone would be good enough for me. So I decided to go ahead and ship it in for the full 175 all in, and it folds all the way back around to the initial raiser. The straddler also folds, and the initial raiser talks to me, tells me he got a hand that runs out well. He's gonna go ahead and make the call. So he makes the call, and he asks me 1 or 2 boards. What do you want to run? So I don't mind running 2, 1. I typically do whatever the other person wants to do. I won't run 3 though. I'll run 1 or 2. I don't do 3. So I let him know he can do what he want to do. So he decides, well, let's go 2. So we go out and we run 2 boards. First board runs out. 10, 8, jack, rainbow. The turn comes the queen of club. The river comes the 3 of clubs. So it does bring in the backdoor flush draw. He says, oh, no, that's not my flop. Oh, that's not my board at all. So I'm pretty sure my aces is good there. He says, but I'm going to run out good on the next board. We go to the next board, and the next board comes out queen 5 jack, rainbow. And I can't remember exactly for sure, but I do believe the turn card was a 10 and the river card was a 2. We go ahead and we flip over our aces and show that we do have the bullets, and he mucks his hand. Our hand is good to go to scoop the pot. So the next hand that we look at here, I am in the big blind position, and it folds to the middle position. The middle position decides that $5 is not enough. He's not going to limp into this pot. He raises it up to $20. It folds back to me in the big blind position, and I look down at ace jack offsuit. Now, thinking about how I played this hand, I honestly think that me playing ace jack offsuit, being out of position, I should have put in a 3-bet here. And I think it would have ultimately allowed me to get more value out of this hand, but I did decide to just go ahead and make the call for $20. And we go to a flop. Ace 7-8 with 2 clubs. So we did have a pretty decent flop here. We got top pair with a pretty decent kicker. But I decided to just check it over to the pre-flop aggressor. Didn't want to go out and donk lead here, so I checked it over to the pre-flop aggressor, and he bet $30. Once he bet $30, I could have put in a raise here, but I still felt like my pair of aces was good. I didn't feel like he had an ace here. Did want to continue to try and set the trap, so I just went ahead and called the $30. We went to a turn card, which was the 4 of diamonds. So now there's 2 diamonds on the board, 2 clubs on the board, and I am out of position. What a pretty shitty spot, to be honest. I could lead out here just to protect away from all draws, but I don't want to scare off any bluffs that he might have at this moment. I do feel like my hand is still good, so I do decide to check it over to the middle position, and he decides that he's going to take a free card and checks it back. Not what I wanted to see, but we go to the river. The river card comes the ace of heart. So with the ace of heart coming out there, I do have trips now. I could check it back and hope that he bluffs, but with him just checking back on the turn card, I don't want to risk him just checking in and letting it check through. I do want to get some type of value out of this hand. There's about $105 in the pot, so I bet a little over half pot. I make a bet for $60, and he folds. So we go ahead and we scoop that pot. Wish I would have got a call out of him, but now that we see his hand, it wasn't really anything for him to call with unless he thought king high was good. Next hand, we're going over here. I am in the under the gun position. There's a $10 button straddle. I look down at ace queen offsuit, so I decide to go ahead and bump it up to $40. Under the gun +2 makes the call. The button makes the call, and the big blind makes the call. So we go to a flop of 4-3-4 with 2 diamonds, and the big blind checks his option over to me. I continue to fire out. The pot is around $165, so I fire around 1/3 pot. I fire $65 into the pot, a little more than 1/3, and everyone folds except for the big blind. He just makes the call again. So at this point, I am putting him either on a flush draw or on a small to medium pocket pair. And I do know this guy can get pretty sticky with a small to medium pocket pair sometimes, because I have played with him once before. I told you it was earlier in this blog. I told you it was one or two guys that I have played with before, and this is one of the guys that I've played with before. So I do know sometimes he can get a little sticky with small pocket pairs, and I felt like if I didn't hit anything on the turn or river, I couldn't make any more bets, because I do believe after him making this flop call, like I said, he will stick around a little longer. So we go to a turn. Turn comes 8 of diamonds. So brings in the front door flush draw that we were also possibly worried that he might have in this position. With that being said, he checks to me and we check it back. We go to a river. River card comes 9 of heart. He fires out a bet. We fold immediately. Nothing else to do here. So the next hand that we're going to be looking at here, I was in the big blind position. The under the gun automatically bumps it up to $25. So sitting in such an early position, bumping it up to $25 symbolizes he has quite a strong hand, or I would at least assume that he has a pretty great drawing hand. But from this position, opening up with so many people behind, I just assume that his hand has to be pretty good. It folds around to the hijack, who decides that he must not agree with me because he says $25 is not enough. He bumps it up to $80. So it folds back to me in the big blind position. Once it gets over to me, I have $110 back. Ace 10 suited. Not much else left to do here. Had a big breakfast this morning, but I guess when I got to this game, I was pretty hungry. Called for the buffet once again, all you can eat. Shoved it all in. See if we can get any callers and hope for a great run out. So we go ahead and we put 110 in the big blind position. 5 bets and decides to put in, I believe it was $225. The hijack decides that that price is just a little too steep for him, so he folds. We go to a run out, and he asks if I want to go once or twice. Once again, like I've been telling you all, I don't mind going once or twice. I leave it up to the other player, just as long as it's not 3 times. He decides, let's go 2 times. I agree, so we go to a run out. He shows us the pocket kings for the goods. We flip over ace 10 of diamonds. Flop comes king queen 7 with 2 diamonds. He flopped a set, and he starts to joke around and was like, oh, did we say twice? Didn't we only say once? I looked and I said, but we have 2 diamonds on the board. Be careful. Didn't have to wait at all. Bink got the 6 of diamond on the turn, giving us the nut flush. The only thing we have to avoid is a king or the board pairing, and we are good to go. And yes, we get a blank on the end, so we go and scoop the first one. The second one, we go to a run out of 995 rainbow board. Turn comes the 3 of spade, and yes, we ask the dealer, give us an ace, give us an ace. And what do you know? We get the ace of club right on the river to save the day. We scoop the full pot. The graphics are wrong. We did hit an ace on the river for the full scoop. Seems like all in today. We're on one. We can't lose it. Can't lose an all in today, and I am happy with that.
And I knew it was coming when he said it.
I felt like on the second flop, the ace was coming on the river. I thought it was coming on the river, not the turn. Did you have that same vibe?
All right, so another one that we're going over here. I was in the big blind, and the under the gun +1 position made the call. Under the gun +2 made the call. The hijack made the call, and the cutoff decided, no, all of you all are not coming along for that price. He bumped it up to $40. The button makes the call. We look down at ace jack offsuit. We have about $110 total. We decide we're getting it in now. We go ahead, call it a buffet, all you can eat. We shove it all in, and everyone folds except for the button. The button decides, for that price, I gotta come along. He makes the call. He asks if I want to run once or twice. Like I said, I let them choose. He says run it twice. So we go to a flop. Run out comes 976, 2 hearts, King of Diamond, and the river is our magical Jack. And we go to the next board. Queen 9-4 with 2 hearts. The turn comes an ace, and on the river comes the 3 of club. We show down ace jack, and he flips over ace 9 for a chop pot. The jack was good on the top board, but he hit 2 pair on the bottom board while we only had 1. Chop pot, we didn't take a loss here. We can live with it. Next hand we're looking at here, I'm in the under the gun +2 position. I look down at ace queen, and I decide to bump it up to $15. The hijack decides that's a good enough price for him. He makes the call. It folds to the small blind. The small blind and the big blind both elect to make the call, so we go to a flop. Queen 9-7, rainbow. The small blind and the big blind both elect to check their options to me. With us having top here with not too much really to be scared of, possible straights out there, or straight draws out there, should I say. But other than that, not really too much to be scared of here. We want to go ahead and play it a little sneaky. We decide to go ahead and check our option over to the hijack, which then the hijack decides to bet out for $35. The small blind makes the call, the big blind folds, and this is exactly what we were waiting for. No need to wait any longer. We have about $70 back. We once again call for the buffet. All you can eat, shove it all in, and the initial raiser here actually decides to fold. While the small blind elects to make the call, we go to a run out. The turn is the 2 of spade. The river is the 5 of spade. Not much change to the board except for it brings in the backdoor spade draw. Our opponent go ahead and flip over king queen. We flip over ace queen, and yes, we have him out kicked. Nice hand, Chris. Nice hand. So that was about the last interesting hand that we were involved in this stream. Not a bad day for us, not a great day for us. In for 250, out for 275 for a profit of $25. Not great for 4 hours, but still not a loss. So we'll take it.